Most people think health problems begin the moment symptoms appear. Pain, fatigue, a diagnosis. But long before any of that happens, your body is already speaking to you. Quietly, consistently, and often politely. The problem is not that the signals aren't there. It's that we've learned to ignore them. Today, we're going to explore how your body sends early warning signs of poor health, sometimes years before illness shows up on a medical test. We'll look at what science tells us about these signals, why they're easy to miss, and what they actually mean in everyday life. Not to create fear, but to build awareness. Because understanding your body early is one of the most powerful tools for long-term health. The human body is remarkably intelligent. Every system, your nervous system, hormones, immune response, and metabolism, is constantly adapting to your lifestyle. When something is off, the body doesn't usually jump straight to disease. It starts with subtle adjustments. You might feel slightly more tired than usual. You may notice changes in appetite, sleep, digestion, or mood. Nothing dramatic. Nothing alarming. And because modern life normalizes stress and exhaustion, these signals often feel normal. But biologically, they're not random. They're feedback. So what does this look like in real life? One of the earliest signals is persistent low energy. Not the kind caused by one bad night of sleep, but a steady background fatigue that coffee seems to mask, not fix. Another signal is frequent minor illnesses. Catching colds more often, slow recovery, or feeling run down for weeks at a time. This often reflects an immune system under chronic stress. Then there's digestive discomfort. Bloating, irregular digestion, or food sensitivities that seem to appear out of nowhere. Your gut is deeply connected to inflammation, immunity, and even mental health. And finally, changes in mood and focus. Irritability, brain fog, or difficulty concentrating aren't just mental issues. They're often physical signals that the brain is struggling to maintain balance. None of these are dramatic on their own. That's exactly why they're easy to ignore. From a scientific perspective, many early warning signs are linked to chronic low-grade stress on the body. This stress can come from multiple sources: poor sleep, sedentary habits, processed diets, emotional stress, constant overstimulation. Over time, the body adapts by releasing stress hormones like cortisol more frequently. Inflammation increases slightly, but persistently. Blood sugar regulation becomes less efficient. Recovery slows. At this stage, you're not sick. But you're also not fully healthy. Researchers often describe this as a pre-disease state, where the body is compensating, not collapsing. The key insight here is timing. Most chronic diseases don't begin suddenly. They develop quietly, during years when early signals were present, but unaddressed. So why does this matter? Because the body's ability to compensate is not infinite. When early signals are ignored long enough, the systems under pressure begin to fail. Fatigue turns into burnout. Digestive issues become chronic inflammation. Stress-related symptoms evolve into metabolic or cardiovascular problems. By the time symptoms become obvious, the underlying imbalance has often been there for years. This is why prevention is rarely about drastic interventions. It's about recognizing patterns early, while change is still relatively easy. Health, in many ways, is cumulative. Small daily signals, repeated over time, shape long-term outcomes. So what can you actually do with this information? First, pay attention to patterns, not isolated days. Everyone feels tired sometimes. What matters is consistency. Second, respect recovery. If rest doesn't restore your energy, that's a signal worth listening to. Third, notice subtle changes, especially in digestion, mood, and sleep quality. These systems often react first. Fourth, don't normalize constant discomfort. Feeling okay but not great is not the same as being healthy. And finally, small adjustments matter more than extreme changes. Improving sleep by 30 minutes, moving daily, or reducing chronic stress can have outsized effects over time. Your body is not fragile. It's incredibly adaptive, resilient, and intelligent. But it doesn't speak in emergencies alone. It whispers. long before it ever has to shout. Health is rarely about sudden transformations. It's about awareness, consistency, and learning to respond before problems become permanent. When you start listening earlier, you give your body the chance to stay balanced and better for the long run.